CDC just issued an urgent warning to all international airports in America about a virus with a 75% fatality rate, 25 times higher than COVID-19. This virus is called Nipah, and it is silently spreading from Southeast Asia. With more than 2 million Americans flying to this region every year and numbers rising rapidly after the pandemic, the possibility of it appearing on American soil is no longer a question of if, but when. WHO has placed Nipah on the highest priority surveillance list for 2026, right next to Ebola. Before we dive into this video, I need to ask you to watch this all the way through so you can understand how to prevent this dangerous virus and share this knowledge with those around you. And that is also my purpose in making and spreading this video. Listen to this story. In September 2025, a 47-year-old man in Kerala, India, flew home after visiting family. He had mild fever symptoms, thought it was just a common cold. Within 5 days, he had infected 12 people in his family and community before doctors realized it was Nipah. 4 of them did not survive.
Life is unpredictable. One thing that isn't, spectrum.
According to new research from Harvard Medical School, Nipah can spread through the air in enclosed spaces, just like COVID, but it is far more dangerous because it attacks the brain directly. Currently, there are about 4.5 million Americans of Indian and Bangladeshi descent living in the U.S., many traveling frequently between countries. On top of that, hundreds of thousands of American tourists visit Southeast Asia and South Asia every year. The CDC has already begun training major
hospitals. He says there have been more than 15 million cases of flu this season, and doctors are warned that number is likely to continue to climb. Here's a map from the CDC, and you can see flu activity in Texas considered to be very high. The agency says roughly 180,000 people have been hospitalized with the flu this season. 7,400 have died. Most of those cases are from a strain of influenza A, a variant called subclade K.
Subclade K, which is a new strain that probably is not included in the current vaccine.
Doctors still say the vaccine is your best protection against severe illness, hospitalization, and death. The CDC estimates 130 million flu shots have been administered nationwide this season. That covers less than 40% of the population.
Spreading right now, respiratory illnesses are ramping up in the U.S. at large, fueled by a new flu virus variant that spread early in Asia, Australia, and Europe. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has a look at the latest data and why experts say they worry this respiratory virus season could be as bad as the last one.
The holidays are here, and so is respiratory illness season, with 3 influenza viruses circulating in the U.S., the new variant, subclade K, driving most infections.
And we're seeing a lot of influenza cases increasing across the country, and that's a trend that we're sure will continue into the new year.
Andrew Pakosh with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health says the U.S. will likely see a pretty severe influenza season. Some states are already seeing high levels of the virus, but he says the new variant makes it likely for every state to have high flu case numbers in the next 2 to 3 months.
Whether we're simply seeing more cases because this clade K influenza virus is evading immunity and therefore more people are susceptible to infection, or if it's really causing more severe disease on a case-by-case basis.
Meanwhile, Pakosh says numbers of COVID-19 cases are nowhere near what we've seen in prior years, but this virus sometimes increases midwinter, and RSV levels have also been low.
It's not clear exactly why, but 2 strong RSV seasons combined with new RSV vaccines and treatments may all be contributing to that reduced case number.
Pakosh says vaccination is still the best way to protect against severe disease for all of these respiratory viruses. He says the flu vaccine is a good match for 2 strains of the virus, but may evade some, but not all, vaccine-induced protection.
It is certainly not too late, especially as we're thinking about holiday gatherings and travel.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
About the spread of a dangerous illness. CDPH says there have now been 7 cases of meningococcal disease since January 15th. 2 patients, both adults, sadly have died from this infection. The disease is spread through direct contact with saliva and usually requires close and lengthy contact to spread. Symptoms include rash, high fever, and headache. So here now is Dr. David Wynn with Rush Hospital. You are an infectious disease doctor treating both adults and kids. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Marissa. Yes.
Such an important warning to let folks know about. When we briefly touched on the symptoms, and they seem to start to look like something you'd get during a normal winter illness. When can things turn? And at what point do we look at this in terms of taking a couple of sick days to seeking medical attention?
Yeah, that's a great.
All right, we're going to pause it right there. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kakadash. I'm going to give a double honor to the elders and to the apostles of GMS Great Millstone who do rule well, and the salutation to the hopeful elect. It's the brother Damawa from the GMS Cleveland branch coming back with another video. And as you can see in the opening, all right, it's a lot of different so-called viruses spiking up and whatnot, all right, and yeah, now more than ever, all right, it's time to have the Most High in your corner, okay, and we're going to start off with that, all right, because there's a lot of different snares being laid, all right, and ever since the 2020 situation, all right, we all know, okay, it have literally made these people immune system weak, all right, so these people are acceptable, okay, to a lot of different health factors, all right, that wouldn't be an issue, okay, if they never would have took that, you know what. All right, but let's go here. Let's go to Psalms 91, and we'll start at verse 7. Slocky, we're going to start at verse 1. It says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High should abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power. In Him will I trust. Surely He should deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence." Okay, and that snare of the fowler is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right, because he's running all these different institutions. All right, CDC. Okay, and we know what that means. All right, and so you don't know whenever this devil decide. All right, to start with the George Guidestone promises, all right, that he had written down. And it says, and from the noisome pestilence, all right, which eventually is going to be those missiles. Okay, so the Lord is saying here, all right, under Him, all right, we'll be safe from all these different things. Verse 4 it says, He should cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings should thou trust. His truth should be thy shield and buckler, right, man? Because He told us of these things before they came, and now we're in the season now where we're seeing, all right, everything that we've been preaching, all right, starting with our beloved Apostle Tahar on down, all right, even his apostle, okay, we're starting to see things come into play, all right, so we know that time is getting closer, all right, so it's about to get totally crazy out here, all right. Jacob's trouble is going to be something that the world has never seen before, all right, when it comes to the death, how dangerous, all right, and just how many different things is going to be going on at once. Verse 5, it says, "Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fly by day." Right, man, so we're not going to be afraid by the civil war situations, by the different pestilence that the Lord is bringing upon this place. Neither are we going to be terrified by the missiles that's eventually going to get shot off over here in America. All right, it says, "Nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness." Right, man, all the different sickness and things that we're not going to be able to see. All right, because again, these people have killed their immune system. All right, that's why they did that to you. All right, it says, "Nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday." That's the missiles again. Right, verse 5, "1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it should not come nigh thee." Right, man, because a lot of people right? The scripture said that the slain of the Lord should be many, all right, from one side to the other, all right. So it's going to be a lot of people, all right, all you Americans, especially you Americans, because y'all are some of the most obese, out of shape, diabetic, riddle, right, ready for the taking people, all right, on the planet Earth, all right. Your diet is horrible, okay, and even if you so-called think you have a good diet, the food is horrible, all right. So there's no escaping, all right, the setup that the Lord has on the masses of the people. Verse 8, it says, only with thine eyes should thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, right? So basically, all right, only the elect is going to make it through, all right, what the Lord has set up, okay, in this place. Now let's take a second. Let's look up that word pestilence, right? Just a simple Google search, all right? It says a usually fatal epidemic disease, especially bubonic plague, right? And that's basically the main one. Specifically, the disease known as the plague, hence any contagious or infectious epidemic disease that is vi- violent, I don't know what to say, and devastating. Okay, so basically, all right, all these different things that you see and going on in these news, all right, talking about these different outbreaks and things like that, is all coming from the Lord, all right, and not to mention, okay, that they haven't really been saying anything about the recent overlapping cold weather, all right, that it hit America head first, all right. Just here in Cleveland, I was watching the news like 2 days ago, and they were saying that this is the first time in since like 1888, some shit like that, all right, that Cleveland has had this long of a stretch of a cold period, all right. And Cleveland, Ohio, is built for the cold, okay, and it's been totally terrible, all right, the last couple of weeks, all right, and there's no letting up in sight, okay, and so it's going to be a lot of people that's going to not make it, all right, or it's going to fast forward, all right, their weak immune system, okay, because again, these people have took the 2020 thing, okay, and so now their body is not fighting off the cold as it should be, all right, but we know why the Lord allowed these certain people, all right, to take that thing, all right, and we're going to get it right here. This is second address 8 and 50, all right, straight to the point. It says, for many great miseries should be done to them that in the latter times should dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. And who was more prouder, right, than you Americans, okay? And when you go to that word misery, it says a state of grievous affliction, condition of external unhappiness, condition of one in great sorrow or mental distress, all right? And I don't know, I don't get sick that often, all right, but I have been sick before, okay? And it's one of those situations, okay, to where a lot of these different epidemic that they have planned for you people, you're not going to be able to survive it, all right? And a lot of people are just going to give up the ghost, okay? All this prepping that they so-called doing, a lot of y'all not even going to make it, okay? But let's get another one real quick, all right? Because we know that these people are ready for the taking, all right? Isaiah 28. Verse 18. It says, and your covenant with death should be disannulled, and your agreement with hell should not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye should be trodden down by it. All right, so the Lord is basically telling you, all right, all you people that so-called trusting your goddamn and these goddamn lab coat people, all right, all these so-called scientists, all right, with these new, I don't want to say the word, with these new needles, all right, with these new needles, all right, and you sending your kids up here and you're sending your family members up here, all right, to continue to keep their job, all right. You get a little cough, right, and you go take all these different vaccines, okay, but you don't know what's in them. You can't see what's in them, all right, and so you basically put your trust into men, all right, and we know what the scripture says about that. Woe to them that put their trust in men, all right, especially in the time that we're living in now, when this man is being found out, all right, to be a freak, all right, all these different files coming out, all right, your leaders have been found out to be liars, okay, so if as Ecclesiastes 10 say, as the king, so are the people. So if the kings are liars, if your presidents, if your most powerful men are liars, which we know the president is not the most powerful, all right, but for the sake of argument, all right, if they're a bunch of liars and crooks and things like that, will make you think that the people that are working under them are not, all right. But again, you made a covenant with death, all right, by using your body as a test dummy, right, as a lab rat, okay, and now, because we know that this man has the technology, all right, the seed cloud, with the cloud seeding, all right, to affect the weather, and now he pushing this cold streak on the whole world. What do you think he's doing with that? All right, he's activating what he had already bestowed upon you, okay, and again, the elect. All right, the man of the Lord who puts their trust in the Lord, as Psalms 91 says, that shit ain't gonna come near us. All right, this is the time now. All right, when the elect is gonna get stronger. Okay, let's get a couple more. Then we're gonna close it out. I don't want to say too much in this video because they will take it down. All right, and this is not medical information. All right. But let's get Sirach real quick, all right, which is also Ecclesiastes 30 and 17, all right. It says, death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness, okay. And we know that this man put you in a situation to where from the average diet of an American, you got to start going to the hospital around 40 until the day you up out of here, okay? And so he promotes, right, continuous sickness, all right? Doctors, that's what the word doctor goes into, all right, bandaging up, all right, to patch up, okay? And that's basically what they do, all right? They just want to make a profit off the people. All right, and you people fall for the shit over and over and over again. All right, so ain't nobody really gonna care when these things fall upon you. All right, especially nobody that really matters. All right, and that's the man of the Lord. All right, and especially the Lord. All right, the one who can save you from it. No, he's gonna allow these people. All right, to do you in. All right, because again, these people still rush. All right, back to these hospitals and stick their arm out. All right, it's like after they just after what they just showed you, you still believe them. All right, Wisdom of Solomon 15, and this is why they allowed the continuous sickness. Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 12. It says, but they counted our life a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. All right, and that's why every goddamn TV show, right? Anytime you stream or something, what they're trying to promote to you, all right? Some type of lab-made drug, all right, with more side effects than what it do to help you, all right? And they even have money already to give you, okay, when the truth come out about it later on, all right? So these people do this shit over and over again, but you people are none the wiser, all right? But again, Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 12. but they counted our life a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say we must be getting very way, Slovakia. We must be getting every way, though it be by evil means. Okay, and this is what they do. All right, they create a situation for you to be dependent on them. All right, and that's evil. Okay, but again, the people don't know the Heavenly Father, so they put their trust in the men. All right, and they're going to forever fall at these different traps that this man has set up. All right, but you're not going to be able to get the elect. Okay, but again, I wanted to make this quick. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, Shalom, y'all.